Hello everybody, welcome back to another Friday night live stream here at Christ Center Ironworks.
Hello.
Hopefully everybody has had a great month off from me and are ready for a whole nother new live stream. So I'm a little bit under the weather right now, so my personality might be just a little bit flat, but hopefully that'll pick up in the next day or so and be good to go. But nonetheless, as they say, the show must go on. Also, we were struggling with a bit of audio issues for all of you that were taking bets on. Yeah, that's right. We seen you.
Yep, we saw what you were up to.
We see you all out there. So we were having some audio issues, and those may be persistent throughout the night of me kind of cutting in and out. So my apologies to any of you earbud listeners out there when you hear us my voice cutting in and out. There's not really anything we could do about that right now. Everything we can do on our end, we have done. And so I think it might be a connection issue because of a high auroral activity we're having right now. So that's my theory anyhow. So we were not able to trace all of that down, but that's okay. We will proceed. The show will go on nonetheless. So who do we have in the house this evening, Jess?
Let's see.
In the forge, I should say.
We have Ken Foster, Robert Lannis, Seagrass.
Hello.
Speargrass Forge.
Hello,
Vodka Maker,
Speargrass. Robert.
David Henderson, Ben
David.
Toombs.
Lots of familiar names and
yes,
faces, I'm sure.
Yes, they are. They missed you. See? They're
You all
we
missed
have
me?
to come see the Roy.
Aw. Aw. Makes me feel loved, warm and gooey on the inside.
The Vodka Maker says, oh, flat Roy?
Yeah, flat. No, quite honestly, well, welcome everybody. Quite honestly, I didn't feel like going live this evening. But I was like, you know what? We're just not, we're not going to do 2 months without me going live, especially since, unfortunately, I hate to break more bad news, but we will not be at Quad State this year. So that won't be something that we'll be doing this year. We've had a lot of family come to town here recently. We've helped Jessica's father move. Yeah, and we've got a bunch of people showing up literally like that week, week of Quad and just before. So we have been busy bees around here trying to take care of those last minute things to do before snow flies. So we are definitely into that mode right now up here in the north. We've had quite a few cold days already. That's kind of popped through some quick northerly temperatures, which I love to death. But of course, now we're having another little heat wave coming up. So take it where you can.
I did accidentally call you seagrass, not speargrass.
What'd you call it?
Seagrass.
Seagrass. They got Seagrass Forge over there.
He says that kind of works with the pirate thing, he supposes. And Danimals. Okay, you were next. Hi, Danimals.
Hi, Danimals. Hello. So, yes. So I want to repeat that again. We've been asked a whole bunch here recently off of camera and off of YouTube if we were going to be at Quad State this year. And unfortunately, we won't be this year. Time's just too tight. Got too many things, too many other things to have to do. Prior commitments to our scheduling. But for those of you that was hoping to see us and hoping to purchase blanks from us at Quad State in person, because generally you can get, obviously you show up at Quad State, you don't have to pay for shipping and things like that. We are running a coupon code for the month of, for the rest of this month from today on through Quad State, continuing through Quad State, which is a free shipping coupon code. So if you were going to go to Quad and you were planning on supporting us in that way of buying some of our CNC plasma cut blanks, you can now just do that and get them shipped to you for free. I'll cover the cost of shipping to you wherever you're at in the United States. So we will take care of you and get you covered. So that's a great way of loading up on blanks, for the holiday craft show season and things like that. I'd also like to say a special thank you to everyone who's already been supporting us in that way and have put in some purchases recently for some blanks. We greatly appreciate you. So thank you. Thank you for that. So that's enough of that nonsense out of the way. We got that out. I will repeat it again sometime. Be prepared to hear this a few times throughout the stream as people come in, get off work and things like that and ask ask questions, we will let them know whether we're going to quad and the free ship coupon code that you can use over at the website. With all that out of the way, let's head on to some other news, what we've been up to. So, gosh, so much. It's like a little catch-up hour. I should say, we're not doing a member stream tonight. So usually a member stream, again, I'm feeling a little not having it. So so we're going to take a pause for do a member stream this evening. Instead, we're going to trade off for a little bit longer live stream this evening. So we'll have a little bit of time where we can talk and jaw your ear off, and we'll have plenty of time to answer questions for Q&A, and I will be able to work on my projects as well. But yeah, so over the course of this past month, let's see here, I've painted the roof above Jessica's studio space that I am building her here in the shop. So that's coming close to a completion. She had some leaks and some drips that were stopping me from finishing her ceiling off. The members who were part of that members live stream got to see a sneak peek of her actual studio space there. And so you guys got to luck out to see that. But yeah, so that process kind of got put on hold. I had to stop working on the ceiling in order to go paint the roof, barn roof. So me and Thomas actually did that over the past 3 days this week. Let's see here. What else have I done?
We painted the house at random.
Yeah, we painted the house at random. Well, not random. It's been needing to be done. So I had a lot of time with moving furniture and spackle knife and, you know, playing drywaller, playing painter, you know, all those good things, you know, get some of those honeydew things knocked off the list. My shop, one big improvement and upgrade that's really going to help with my output on videos and be able to put out video content. Something that's is something that has been a big challenge here in the shop since working with Thomas full time here and doing the CNC work is the electricity in this shop has not been up to par for, well, since I moved here, you know, for CNC work. So it was fine for a blacksmith shop that had fairly low power needs, you know, the occasional welding I might need to do or grinding, you know, running the 1 power hammer, things like that, and just general lighting, it was fine for that. But since moving into the CNC space, we draw a lot more power, and so we have been way underpowered for a while. That's really cut down on my ability to actually film videos on the days Thomas is plasma cutting and working in the shop. We kind of have to like choose what piece of equipment and what lights we want to turn on in order to run the plasma bed and equipment. So one of the huge, awesome blessings that'll be coming through is we're actually having a 200 amp service installed to the shop. So I am so unbelievably stoked about that. So that has been a whole other foray and different things. They're actually going to be here in a few weeks, I think it is now, right?
Yep.
I think we're like maybe 2 weeks out.
I think so,
2-ish weeks out, and they will be installing the 200 amp, you know, running a whole new line of service to the shop. So that is going to be cool. More power. So I've never had that much electricity in my whole entire life, my whole career of smithing. It's always been an extension cord here, you know, extension cord here, 5 plugs in one outlet over there, you know, that kind of thing since the time I've, you know, 1 power strip that's got like 14 things plugged into it. You know, that has been my electrics in my shop since the start of my blacksmithing career. So I am so stoked to have that. I'll be able to have some big boy power in here, and that'll allow me to wire up some equipment and things I've had just sitting off to the side, you know, so that's going to be really nice. So that's been a big thing. We had to do some trenching, we had to do some other stuff, so that's been a big thing going on as well. So yeah, boatloads of things. So our last month was absolutely insane, and yeah, this month is shaping up to be exactly the same as last month. Pretty much insanely busy. So busy is good. We're trying to get all those last little projects done before the end of the year, because here in the north, once the white fluffy white stuff starts falling, everybody quits working outside, and basically you're closed up for the next 7 months until summer hits again. And then you're ready to go. So that's a bit about what we've been up to. That's why we didn't live stream last. We've been busy, under the weather, certain stuff like that. Just didn't feel like it. There you have it. That brings us up today's date, as it were.
Hello,
Jess,
Dana.
questions?
Danimal says, Roy, you need to step up your game and get a laser cutter or water jet. Laughy face.
Yeah, okay. You can throw some of that coinage my way, and Roy will get those things. No problem.
200 amp might not even be enough.
Yeah, no, probably wouldn't. Not for all that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Spencer Coote says more power, and
Yeah.
then Tim Allen noises.
Oh. Definitely more power. I can't wait. Can't wait for that. That's going to be such a blessing to have in the shop and to be able to use, and not, it'll be a huge help. So one thing you guys might actually notice this evening when I get to forging here, I've got the treadle hammer kit hooked up, but the air compressor I have draws a lot of amperage. So what you'll end up seeing is if I end up reaching the volume limit of the air compressor, you might see some strobing or flashing happening in the shop, and that's the kind of thing I'm talking about that I can't film with usually. This being live, well, hey, it's live. You just have to deal with it, It's the way it is. But having brand new power, I won't have to deal with that strobing anymore, and I will be stoked beyond belief. So, all right, let's talk. Unless you have anything else, Jess, real quick. Want to talk about what we're doing this evening?
Go ahead. Yeah.
No? You just reading comments? You're zoning out on me over there.
Yeah,
You're a little quiet, so
yeah, no.
I'm not picking up anything.
People sharing a few, like they're running off of extension cords, and one person said they did have a 200 amp service, and it's nice, and somebody else has to use their dryer outlet to power their plasma cutter and that kind of stuff.
Yep. Mm-hmm. I've been there for 16 years. So I've been working up to the point of having full power in a shop for 16 years. So, hey, we're all in it together. You guys just keep on the march. You'll get there too. So super excited about that. Without further ado, let's talk a little bit about what we're going to be doing this evening. So this evening, I figure I will take it fairly easy on myself this evening. And what we're going to work on is I'm going to do some chased. So I'm going to show how chasing steel can really elevate a project. Many of you know this about me. I am really big into, chased ironwork and, really ornately forged things. And so I'm going to show you how you can take really simple, what would be a normal simple project where maybe all you do is throw some texture on it. And I want to show you how you can take and elevate that very plain blank, literal blank thing, and elevate it to a place where, it is really ornate and gorgeous with just some simple lines, some simple techniques, and things like that. So that's what I hope to take and show this evening. I want to show these really ornate little chased items that I plan on working on, a couple different things I had in my mind I plan on playing with. As far as giveaway items this evening, we have a punch and chisel set to take and give away. I have a dual bay guillotine tool kit that we offer over our website, blacksmithingblanks.com. I've got one of those, a double bay guillotine tool kit to give away. So we've got one of those to give away this evening. I have 3 Trivet Kits to give away this evening, and that's it, I think, right, Jess?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
I think that's all we said we were going to give away this evening. So we are going to be doing some giveaways and stuff just to, help you all out there get inspired and start making some projects. So without further ado, I should go sit down and show them what we're working on, huh?
Yes, sure.
All right. Step into my office. It would have been better. Hold on, stop.
Oh, okay.
All right. Go back to camera 1.
All right.
Now ready? Watch. Now I'm going to say, let's step into my office. And when I sit down, boom, you should have camera transitioned.
That's what I did.
You did?
Originally.
No, you're late. See? You're late. Okay, let's do it again.
I thought you were showing me what you're about to do.
Let's do it again. We're going to do it until we get it right.
Okay.
This is live, folks. This is what we usually practice for an hour or so before we get going on live streams. All right, ready?
Yes.
Let's step into my office.
There.
And boom, she got it. She nailed it. Everybody give her a round of applause. All right. All right, enough of me having fun before I have to sleep out here in the shop tonight for putting Jessica on the spot. We don't want that, do we? All right. So I'm over here at the treadle hammer kit this evening, and I've got a few projects laid out here. These are all pretty simple. These are door pulls. I'm going to show you first here a couple different styles. So these are door pulls that we sell. These are blanks. And I'm going to show you how we can change this from just being like a textured thing. That's a pretty common thing that beginners might do, is you might just texture this up and then form it into shape into a door pull. But I'm going to show you how we can really elevate this with the power of just some chisel marks that we can add to this. So I'm going to set that to the side. I've got a square pull here. Again, this is the shape of a door pull. Makes a really convenient, nice, dresser drawer handle or cabinet handles. Here's a fleur-de-lis style. And then finally, I'm going to show some hooks as well. So I'm going to also show some hooks here as we get in. So this is a maple leaf hook blank and then oak leaf hook blank. Now, all the techniques, I'm choosing to do these from blanks just because it's simple. It's simple to take and illustrate the point that I'm trying to put across. But you can do this with any type of forged leaf or ironwork that you are making. So if you forged your own oak leaf, or if you forged your own just simple basic leaf or whatever, maybe you've made a grape leaf or you hand cut them out or something like that, you can use all of these techniques I'm showing this evening on these simple blanks here to elevate your ironwork. And so that's what I hope you'll pull from this evening, this evening's little design class and chasing course. Real short demo. So, questions, Jess?
Let's
Comments?
see. Edward says, I have some tools, not power of any kind, but that's where you start.
Yep, exactly. Start with hand and manual tools, and then you can always move up from there. Oh.
Danimal says, right, Corey, I started making metal art about 17 years ago. It went about 10 years from 2011 without applying ability to make anything. Once I got back to it, I really wanted to incorporate blacksmithing practices into my art. There you go. He continued it.
Cool. Okay, so for this design here, so we're going to start with what I'd probably say is probably an easy one for me here. We're gonna start with this round door pull. Now these finials can look real nice just all on their own. You could just give them a little bit of a bevel around here to give them some forged texture around the edge, and then go ahead and form them up. Or you can just texture the center or things like that. What I'm going to do is I'm actually going to leave this center section. I'm going to treat this as 3 separate stages. So I'm going to have, basically, I'm going to separate this out into 3 parts. Technically 2 different things that we're going to be doing, but it's made up component-wise of 3 parts. So on one end here, I'm going to take and make a little, on this end, I'm going to make a flower motif, and on this end, I'm going to make a flower motif, and in the middle, I'm going to leave it free and clear. I'm going to leave that to have the natural forging texture from us forming this into a door handle. That way, you don't have to go super crazy, but you can definitely ornament this if you wanted to. We can add a little extra ornamentation here if we want to take it to that next level. But I'm going to leave this pretty simple to just start with, and I'm just going to show you how we're going to make where the screw holes will go a bit more ornate. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw roughly what I'm thinking I'm going to do here, what I have in my head anyhow, and I'm going to see how this looks and how it comes together. Now, I may decide I don't like it later on, but that's for me to decide later on. I could just decide not to do that. So I like that. So that has multiple petals. Do a little flower motif. Another one I could do is I could just clip and make it more of a clover motif maybe. little extra. I don't know if they can see that okay.
Yeah.
Can they see that there?
Yeah.
So that might look nice. Give it some looks like that, and then bring these more into the center. Give it more of a rose petal look. And I think I'm going to go with this one here. I like this one, so that's the one I'm going to go with. I'll set this off. Sometimes it helps to draw it out before you go go for it. One other thing I'd like to mention about this. So when we're doing this type of chased work in here, keep in mind that you're trying to imitate nature when you're doing flowers, rosettes, leaves, anything that has to have some organic form to it. So it's really important for you to get things to look somewhat symmetrical to where they kind of match each other. But don't worry about this handle not perfectly being 100% like the next handle you make. You want them all to have their own little bit of character to them. That's what shows that it's a nicely forged product and it's not something that's just stamped out in a machine by the thousands, right? It's not something that's production stamped.
The animal said, is that a miniature railroad crossing sign?
I guess it could be. I guess it could be. All right, I'm going to use that one. I'm going to use...
Oh, you're doing all right, Keith. We're only 24 minutes in.
What's that?
Oh, Keith said he's arriving late. Hope he didn't miss too much.
Nope, you haven't missed a thing yet. All right, I'm going to use these two things. Use this. Well, yeah.
Dwayne Burbridge says
get set up here, folks. Huh?
Dwayne says completed one of the CNC cut maple leaves for a Canadian friend's birthday and she loves it.
Awesome.
And Janet McComb said, happy Friday. Just wanted to thank you for the bonus items you put in my blank orders. I want to keep ordering just for the bonus items. You are awesome.
You're very welcome. Thank you. We like to include a little bit of a freebie in there, just to help you inspire you to do something that maybe you like to do. You never knew that maybe you wanted that blank, huh? But there you have it. All right. So the very first thing I'm just going to use a ball punch. Can they see that okay on the screen? I can't tell. It's a tiny, tiny little screen.
Yeah. You
can they see it okay?
Yeah, when you go back and forth, that helps. Yeah.
Yeah, so we're just going to use a little tiny ball punch for the center dot. So I'm just going to find the center of that. Can you see that?
Yep.
Punch. So I punched it. Okay, I'm going to set that down. Now I'm going to use a fuller. This is an 1/8 inch fuller. And I'm going to come along. I'm going to fuller a little line in this. Can they see that?
Yes.
Slide angle. Come around to the other side. I'm keeping this tilted at a slight angle. So this way it gives a bit of a look. It gives a bit of a flared look to my line, to my fuller line. Get this on here. Nice.
The animals ask, so you're just using the air assist treadle hammer currently?
Yep, this is the air assist treadle hammer with heavy hammer upgrade. Just making my lines connect. All right, can we see that okay?
Yes.
See how that's changed that look? Mightily so. Wish I would have thought first and brought over some acetone so I could have wiped all this away, but hopefully everybody could see the kind of the difference. So again, just imagine if you were just texturing this and leaving this plain versus leaving that on the end. Does that not look a little bit more ornate?
It does, yeah.
Okay, but we're going to take it one step further because to me, this is still too plain. This is still too plain. So let's take it up. Let's take it up a notch. So what we're going to use is we're going to use this same 1/8 inch fuller. Now, keep in mind, I've used two tools so far. I've used a little ball fuller. This is nothing more. You can go buy a Harbor Freight punch and chisel set, and just grind this to a ball end. They have multiple different size punches that you can grind to ball shapes, and now you got instant ball fullers without having to forge them. And then also the same thing with their chisels. Their cold chisels, any cold chisel or anything like that or hot cut chisel is a perfect candidate to just grind to different radii to make little fullers, make fullers like this. Now obviously I forged these so this way they can be used under power hammers, presses, and treadle hammer kits because they got a short profile. But you could just do that by taking a saw and cutting off the length you need to make little short stubby tooling. It's a quick way of getting that done. That's a pro tip for you if anybody's paying attention to that one. So that's a pro tip. But now what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and use this. Again, simple tools. 1/8 inch fuller. I'm going to follow right along my lines here. And I'm going to give the flowers some texture. All right, I'm giving them a little bit of flour. I've given the flowers a little bit of texture. I'm going to deepen up my segregation grooves a little bit. Nice. And then I got a couple little cross cuts there that don't look as nice, but that's okay. Can we see that okay?
Mm-hmm, yep.
What do they think?
I think, well,
Can you not see it that well?
Yeah, somebody said they had to turn their chat off and zoom it in sideways, so I might just see if I can zoom it in a little closer.
What to do? Then you see it a little closer?
Mm-hmm. There we go, yeah, that works nice.
Did you get my focus on?
Yes.
You have to stay out of the...
Make sure it's focused.
There.
It's bright blue where the thing's at.
Okay.
There we go.
Good?
Yes, I believe so.
All right, I need that to be flipped back around so I can actually see what I'm doing.
Okay.
Please.
I just have to see if it's too dark. I was trying to see, I guess I can't change that part of it. There we go. And plus I'm probably in your light, huh?
Yeah, you're in the light a
There
little
we
bit
go.
there. I think that battery's getting ready to fail. That's why it's darkened up a little bit.
Oh, okay.
Just give me a second. I'll be right back.
Oh yeah, that definitely helps it. The lighting's not too bad, actually.
How's that?
Good, that'll work.
Better?
Yep.
Can they see better?
Yes. Yeah, that's much better.
See what we come up with?
Mm-hmm, yeah.
So we'll come back in here where that transition's at. I'm gonna give some little texture. I'll lose some of that texture when I bend it, and that's okay. I'll bend it into a handle. But can we see that difference now?
Mm-hmm, yes.
Can we see how that's changed the look of this thing entirely?
Mm-hmm.
So,
Gives it a lot more dimension.
and I've just re-deepened it here.
Yeah.
again, from this thing over here to that.
Yeah, very nice. Vange from Sweden says, looks great.
Awesome, thank you. So you can see very quickly how something like this can totally change the look of a door handle or a door pull or really anything you're doing. Anything in the flat, anything on square bar, round bar. If you can add some chased details and chased lines, it really does help sell a particular look. Now you got a picture where I might throw a nail in this. So throw a little hand-forged nail in there and clinch it off on your cabinetry, right? That would look really sick because then you would have the texture and the dome of the nail, right, to add as the center flower part. But even if you didn't do that, you drill this hole and you put a screw in there, like a wood screw, you can easily dress that up with a little bit of texture, you know, a little bit of stamen texture, and boom, instantly you've got something really ornate to go on your cabinetry. Now we go back to the main cam, Jess. I gotta change this light real quick.
Sure.
Change the battery. As I said, it got darker because the battery was about out on that one.
Danimal says, from the distant view, the hammer seems a bit wobbly when you let off. Does it recover its straight line quickly when you get back on the air?
Yeah. So the reason why the wobble is you got to understand that you're moving a 40-pound, 42-pound head, you know, up and down. And all swing arm type hammers, unless you've made this out of steel, I made this to make it as simple as possible to put on somebody's stud, like a 2x4 wall stud. And it's meant to be connected by something, right? Top and bottom, it's meant to be secured. This is just secured from one side of that 2x4. So there's a lot of leverage out here making this swing back and forth. So this is not an ideal setup here, but all swing arm type hammers will have a little bit of travel, especially when you miss hit. So if you hit to one edge of the die, it's going to send its rebound force, you know, tangentially. It's going to come off of the piece like that. Versus, say, an inline hammer that's going to hold something, you know, it's got the guides that fight that resist it slopping back and forth or whatever. I like to say that this treadle hammer, you know, is like, it's like having a striker in your shop, like originally treadle hammers were meant to do and meant to be. And it looks like I've lost power to my main cam.
Yes, that's like,
Did I?
What happened?
So,
yes. Yep.
Oh, man, nothing but technical issues tonight. What are we, greenhorns at this or what?
Well, at least they can still hear us and they can see me. Hello.
Give me a second. I'll get this changed. Can they still hear you?
Yes, they can hear us.
Can they still see me? Well, hear me?
They can.
These batteries are going down like hotcakes, girl. Craziness, craziness.
They are. Ken Foster says, I heard that you can use a brass brush to give it a little color. Would that work well on this? Or finish it and then sand off the high spots?
Both.
Yeah, either one
Could look
be
really
nice.
great, yeah.
And then he says, I haven't had much luck getting the brass from the brush onto the piece. How hot do you need it to get?
Okay, so to get brass to be on the piece, you need to be right around about 1,000 to 1,200 degrees. That is the perfect temperature in which to get brass onto your piece of steel. So you want it to be a very dull, I mean almost imperceivably dull red, okay? You want it to be dark, dark red, where if you hold the piece under the shade of your anvil, you can just see color. Or you want it at a black heat, which is, it's just black, you can't see any color. And if you rub the brass brush on, then the brass will stick. Now, if you do not cool that piece off after you get the brass on there, the piece, that metal, being that hot, it'll actually cook that brass off. That little fine layer of brass, it'll oxidize over it and basically bake it off, and you won't see the brass brushing. So if you really want to lock in the colors of brass brushing, you get it hot to that very dull red temperature. You start brass brushing it until it drops down into a black temperature, or until you've got as much brass on it as you would like, and then quench it off real quick in a tub of water. And what that will do is that'll lock that brass in, and that brass will be very vibrant on the surface of the steel. The brighter you make the surface of the steel, that means less cruddy with, you know, the less cruddy it is with like scale, like just plain forging scale and stuff. The shinier the surface is, the higher the finish and the shinier the actual brass will be in the final result, if you will.
So you probably could run like some sandpaper on the surface first and then bring it up just underneath a scaling heat before you do it or something like that.
Yeah, probably could.
Vange says, do you heat it up to make the handle, or do you just bend it cold?
Yep, you heat it up to make the handle. So this is a 10 gauge material. We can go back to the camera 2, please. So this here is 10 gauge thick material. And so it's a little stout to try to bend up, you know, cold. Now, if you're just flat bending it like the way it is now and not giving this any dome, this shape is meant to be domed slightly or cupped to make the handle. If you're not doing that, you could bend it just like it is cold. 10 gauge steel cold is not hard to bend like that if you're just looking for a flat profile handle. If you are trying to add a dome to it, that is better done hot. It'll go a lot easier for you, things like that. All right, I'm gonna set this off the side. So that's a good example piece. So now we got one good example piece I can set off the side here. Any other questions, Jess?
Just a comment.
Go ahead.
Keith said, last weekend I ran the blacksmith shop on Saturday and Sunday at a pre-1840s rendezvous. Had a guy ask about forge welding, so I welded 2 bars together without flux to show him it's all in his head.
Right on. The no flux army is strong with this one.
Yes, yes it is. You have trained them well. Yes, Danimals, 10 gauge is roughly 1/8 inch.
Yep, 10 gauge is 1/8 inch. It's a little thicker than 1/8 inch. What camera are we at? Are we at the main camera or are we at the secondary cam?
We're at the main cam, yeah.
We're at the main cam? Okay. Let's go to secondary cam.
Okay.
Could we?
Yes.
All right, next one we're going to work on. We're going to work on this square one. So just like that round finial, we're going to try a little different approach, but it's going to be a very similar thing, but just slightly different, slightly different. So on this square one, we're actually going to use a chisel. So now I've employed a total of 3 tools that you might need to make for yourself. A round ball punch, an 1/8 inch fuller, and just a cold chisel, basically. Just a cold chisel. So I'm going to go ahead and employ this cold chisel here. And what I'm going to do instead, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to make a plus mark. I'm going to make a plus mark, and this is going to give me a little different floral element. Now I could spread this out into a fishtail. I could do a lot of different things with this end, but I'm just going to stick with that theme of a floral theme and try to make a gigantic plus mark across this. It's going to look pretty cool. So I'm going to come across this with a nice sharp line. And then I'm going to run the plus the opposite way. So here we go. I'll find my center if I can. Yeah, I'll cut it up just a little further. Yeah, a lot of the left and right motion, we can go back to main cam, Jess.
Okay.
A lot of the left and right motion you're seeing here is actually in this 2x4 back here because of the way I screwed it on there, which isn't the greatest, but that's where a lot of the left to right motion is. But we're also getting a lot of that because I'm coming in at angles. I'm angling a little bit on the tooling, and it's helping it get that kind of roll going. But most of that deflection, if you're noticing, is actually happening when I'm coming off of the piece. I'm not engaging, but I'm just letting it kind of bounce, and then it's kind of doing that wobble thing. But when you pull down on, when you hit that air cylinder, it's pulling that wobble straight out of it. All right, so I did that chisel mark. Now I'm going to use a ball fuller and go back to the Camera 2, Jess.
All right.
So I got my plus sign in there. Pretty neat, huh?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Okay. Now we'll put my ball fuller in there. All right. As you can see, we're just elevating this up. This is just a collection of lines, chisel lines, punch marks, things like that, right? But nonetheless, it's looking kind of neat as we go here. So now we could choose a couple different routes that we could go with the petals. But in this case, I'm going to go ahead and move up. You could do a texture like you've done before. But in this particular case, I'm actually going to move up to a much bigger ball fuller. And I'm going to pull these lobes out with this ball fuller.
And yes, Keith, these are drawer pulls.
Yep, these are drawer pulls. All right. And if you're not getting enough movement cold, you can get everything laid out cold like this and then come back when it's hot. And you will most certainly get a lot of movement out of it then. But this I'm just doing for cold, just to show you what can be done. Ooh, you see how that's becoming less square?
Mm-hmm, yep.
And that's taking a shape now? Mm-hmm. Again, same concept. See how that square's coming right out of it, that corner? Mm-hmm. That corner is actually stretching out into the lobes of this rosette. Again, we start from something really boring. See where we're going with this? Mm-hmm. Last but not least, we'll go this way. Drop that, go back to my little round ball puller. Just to set that side down.
Very cool. Yeah, I like that. Somebody said something like that could be done on a skillet handle too.
Most certainly can. I really hope I'm inspiring somebody tonight to try adding chisel lines to your work and chasing. Can we see the difference there?
Mm-hmm. You could even make like a little leaf-shaped stamp and do like a little vine down the center part of it too. Yep,
you very well could. Or you could add, like on this one, you could add like a dot and a couple chisel lines to make like a star insignia. Mm-hmm. Right?
Yeah.
You could do like a swervy line, like Jessica was saying. Maybe like where it curls this way and the other one comes back and curls this way, and then create some little leaves that come off of that as a texture element. You can just keep elevating this right up like crazy. Mm-hmm. But there's a whole new world out there for you to explore. So there's some of those. There's one, I want to touch up this one real quick. I'm going to touch this up just a little bit, and then I can take some questions. And we'll probably do a giveaway, and then I'll move on to the fleur de lis, which is one of my favorite things to forge. Just making those a bit more expressive to my liking. And I think I'm pretty happy with it. I'm going to show one more quick trick before I move on. So if you notice, these have been pulled out. That's kind of nice, right? It's a little nice. One other thing you could do to make this a little nicer, just a touch nicer, is check this out. Remember, we got chisel here, yeah? Chisel. We're going to line it up with that line, and we're going to chisel down a little bit. So I'm going to turn it to me so I can see where I'm going. See if I can hold it up straight enough to do this. Now, it's not going to want to do this easy for you. So you have to take your time with it, because we're kind of coming up on a knife edge. Do we see how I give it a little bit more segregation?
Yep, that looks nice.
Then I'll work that back into itself. There we go. And then this would require a little different cut. I would suggest on this one you just file the top notch, because you can't really grip this any which way to do that effectively. But this top notch, you could just file that in. Now, I just did those little notches because it was convenient to do right here, just to give it that little extra. See? Just a little extra something. It gives the mind's eye a little something more to work on. And again, if you imagine a chisel cut there as well, chiseling that in, it would look like a few pieces put together versus just one. All right, cool. So I'll take some questions, Jess.
Sure.
Let's do some Q&As real quick.
All right.
Woo.
Let's see. Roger Caldwell says, I used an anvil and hammer keychain blanks to emboss a leather phone case, and it turned out great.
Oh, very cool. I'd love to see a picture of that. I think somebody sent me a picture not too long ago. Was that Roger?
No.
It was a project somebody was working on. They used our blanks for, but yeah. So, Roger, send me if you can figure how to do it there, send me a picture of that. I'd love to see how that came out.
Yeah, a lot of our animal shapes we have now, somebody had purchased those and made where you heat up andirons. Is that what that's called? Or where you heat it up and you brand stuff?
Oh yeah, branding irons.
Branding irons, yeah. Yep. Keith says, on the ram's head door knocker I sent you, Roy, I brass brushed it and the brass finish turned a green color. Didn't seem green like oxidization, but a greenish yellow. Do you have any idea why?
Turned a greenish color.
And somebody had suggested maybe his quench take was acidic.
Yeah. Did it turn green when you quenched it off, or did it turn green when you coated it with wax?
And he also said, Savannah is falling asleep in my arms listening to her first of many live streams, by the way.
Aw. Oh, congratulations, brother, by the way. Oh, I think we've already said that. We sent you our congrats, but yeah, congratulations. You said Savannah? Is that her name?
Yep.
Oh,
Yep.
Very awesome. One of first of many live streams. Feel honored.
Peter Watson said a series of diagonal lines could give a nice roping effect.
Yep. Very, very true. Make it very, very ornate that way too.
Debaka says, I wonder would the fleur-de-lis be embossed from the back?
The fleur-de-lis. So if you have cupping stakes, you could do that. You could definitely form it around. Now, this particular thing, chasing work, is all done from the front. So it's all a facade. It's all a facial kind of thing. It's a front-facing type work. Chasing work is. Now, if you want to do some repousse work or repoussé work and make that fleur-de-lis really pop up, you could, what I would do is I would thin out that fleur-de-lis chunk, that 10 gauge chunk. Let's go back to anvil cam real quick, Jess. Yeah. What I would do is, because this is so thick, like 10 gauge material, what I would do is I would actually forge and spread this out a little bit. So peen this out and thin it up, and then form it from the backside in dishing stumps to give it that three-dimensional form, if that's what you were going to do with it. And what it does is, if when you thin this piece out, you're giving yourself extra material that when you then dome it, it will scrunch back up to its original form, shape, or size. If you just scrunch this up the way it is now, it's going to get awfully small on you real quick. So you would have to take and, like I said, you'd have to spread this out a little bit and then form it up into that kind of the fleur-de-lis shape again.
Speargrass says, I'm not surprised a fleur-de-lis is a favorite of yours, being a Baroque guy.
It really is. It really is. So it's such a pleasing shape. I think that's what I like about it. It could be turned into so many different things. It's such a small shape as well. You can add it in places that you wouldn't think you could add something like that. And that's kind of what I like about it. You know, it's a very simple leaf-looking shape that incorporates a bit of scrollage and, yeah, leafy. It's a leafy shape. It's a shape that is really conducive to a lot of different forms. So that's one of the things I like about the fleur-de-lis in ornamental ironwork is it lends itself very well to whole hosts of ironwork out there. So it doesn't have to be French Baroque ironwork or Baroque ironwork. You can just throw a little fleur-de-lis on and just call it a leaf, a fancy leaf, right? You don't have to call it a fleur-de-lis, but you could just make a little fancy leaf scroll on the end of something. You know, it's just a really pleasant shape. You know, it's just a real pleasant shape. So that's one of the reasons why I like it. It looks really nice in scroll work. It looks great in straps, hinges, and you name it. So, yep.
And our small version is made out of 16 gauge. We're always working with the larger version of our drawer pulls. Yeah,
so we actually have these. Are we at the main cam? Mm-hmm. So we have these in both a 10 gauge, which is this much larger handle. As you go to the secondary cam real quick, you can see this is a much larger handle, right? Like my hand is not small either. So the block across here is 3 inches, I believe it is. I believe this is like a 3-inch block by, it's like 4 or something. But, you know, I don't have a small hand, you know, and you can see it produces a pretty girthy handle. Our cabinet pulls or our other little drawer pulls that we have that are smaller than this, they're made from 16 gauge and they're more dainty. They're for like little shelves, you know, shelf drawers or things like that, for an apothecary cabinet or like your regular cabinetry. Usually cabinetry has pretty delicate poles on it, you know, because you're not having to it's not like you got to get some oomph behind your opening of it, or at least you shouldn't, right? You should just be able to easily just grab the pole and just pull it with 2 fingers type thing. So we made the cabinet poles a little more dainty than the drawer poles, because the drawer, you're assuming you might have some weight or you have to fight the drawer a little bit, and that's easier to do with a much bigger pole. So, but yeah, we offer all of those over our website at blacksmithingblanks.com. So you guys be sure to check the link out in the description for that if you are interested in any of these. So, or a treadle hammer kit like what I'm using tonight as well. So on that note, treadle hammer kits and whatnot, heavy hammer upgrades and all of that jazz, be prepared to take and see this thing in many more upcoming videos here recently. And yes, I will shamelessly self-plug it because I still think it's one of the best deals you can get for yourself on the market comparatively to all of my competitors out there. It is not a power hammer. It is not a press. It is not an inline treadle hammer. It is a swing arm treadle hammer that you can get for a very economical price. So, you know, I'm a big fan of it, of course. Why wouldn't I be? I designed it and whatnot. I think it's very approachable. You know, it's a modular kit. You can build it up as you go. You can dress it up or tone it down, however you like. So, but the reason why you'll be seeing this a lot in my upcoming videos is a lot of the work that I intend on doing is going to require a lot of chasing work. There's going to be a ton of chasing work. You're going to see the fly press behind me being used a bunch from Blacksmith Supply. That fly press I got with my sponsorship with Blacksmith Supply. So you'll be seeing that little fly press come into work a lot. So you're going to be seeing some other of my tools being put to work quite a bit for the chasing work and some of the forging work that you're going to be seeing. So yes, you'll be seeing this hammer a lot, and you'll be seeing a lot of shameless self plugs during the videos. With that being said, most of my shameless self plugs will be, it'll be a code that'll come online that'll just show you the link, you know, or like, hey, go check this out if you're interested in the description, that sort of thing. So you'll be able to, that's what you can look forward to in the upcoming videos. So you'll be seeing this thing being ran a lot more. So, but on that note, I do get asked a lot, what size air compressor do you need to run this kit, right? What size air compressor and all that jazz. Well, frankly, we've ran this on a 3-gallon air compressor that put off, you know, it was a 3-gallon little pancake air compressor, you know, that was probably putting off 1.6 to maybe 2 gallons a minute of kind of air, right? It was like very, very low. And we were able to run this thing. Now that air compressor never shut off. It never shut off the entire time we were demonstrating with it out the Central Virginia Blacksmith. Was it Virginia? Yeah, that's where it was. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. When we were out there demonstrating, Thomas, that little air compressor, God love it. I'm surprised it didn't catch fire, but it didn't shut off until we went home for the evening in the middle of the night. So with any air-powered device, I don't care who's the manufacturer, the largest air source that you can get, the better. So the largest amount of volume you can get with the max amount, with the largest amount that you can comfortably afford of cubic foot a minute airflow, or CFM, is what you need to take and run any air-powered device. So it doesn't matter if you went to a Big Blue and you bought like a Big Blue hammer, which is a air utility hammer, or you get their new little hammer that they got, or if you get, you know, an air-assisted treadle hammer like what I have and I put out on the market here, or any other type of Kenyon-style air hammer, a Kick-Ass 75 hammer, you know, anything that requires air, and I'm just mentioning them all. A bowl hammer, all of them require, they're hungry for air. Now, this will sip the air, unlike some of those other ones that I've previously mentioned. This will sip the air, but if you've noticed, the air compressor hasn't kicked on. Nothing's flickered, right? No lights have been flickering. I've been using this thing, not super extensively, but we've been going for a little bit now, and no lights are flickering. But that's because I've got a 270-gallon air tank. So it's 270 gallons of air available to me, a volume of air, right? And then what matters beyond that is it also will run at 12 cubic foot a minute of airflow, will refill that 270 gallons. So it will take a while for it to refill once it does kick on, but it doesn't take too long. But that's a really, really big air compressor, and I can run this thing nonstop without worrying about it running without any power. For a hobbyist, if you've got air, right, most of the time you're not standing here just running this thing for 6 hours, right, straight. You're going to be going back to the forge and getting more metal hot. You're going to be waiting for that, right? You will have some time for cycle rates. So on an air hammer, air assist treadle hammer like this, I usually will suggest that you get about a 20 gallons, at least, that's the volume, get a 20-gallon air compressor that can do at least 3.5 cubic foot a minute of airflow for the refill. And that's about all you need for this. If you get a 60-gallon air compressor with similar specs, that's going to be even better. It's going to run even less for you. But not everybody has the ability for that, right? you know. So even a 12-galloner or something like that, you know, one of those little roll-around types, even that will work on this. It'll just run a bit more is all when you're using it. But yeah, so there you go. Hopefully that answers some of that questions out there for those who have had that in their minds. What's up, Jess? Questions, comments?
Welcome, Bill Will, Keith Tenzing, and Jesse Dunn.
Hello, hello. Welcome, welcome.
Speargrass says, Roy, it's your channel. You're not only allowed but expected to self-plug. It's only a seamless self-plug on other people's channels, LOL.
Well, thank you for giving me the encouragement that I can do a shameless self-plug.
Danimal says, shop I used to work in, we ran a 300-gallon air compressor, dual high horsepower motors. Both compressors were 2-stage high recovery. We ran Q75 PSI through the whole shop. That was nice, never ran out of air.
Yeah.
Oh, 175. Sorry,
175 PSI. Yeah.
Yep.
That's a lot of air.
Yeah, it is.
So again, that's not always practical, but you kind of got to give it the concept of what you'll be doing. Most of the time in forging, you're sticking a piece back in the fire if you're working in coal, and you're waiting for it to heat back up. If you're working in gas, you're waiting for it to heat back up, right? So it's not like one of those things where, you know, you've got to make sure you have an air compressor that you can just lay on the treadle and just never stop for 18 hours straight. That's not really necessary. The reason why I have such a large air compressor in my shop wasn't for this, it was for the plasma bed, because the plasma bed does take a crud ton of air. It takes a bunch of air to run a CNC plasma bed. So that's why, that's why I built a really big air compressor for those purposes. So.
Charles Vincent said, I know Athol Ironworks, and he led me to you, since eventually I'm wanting to do fairs and teach.
Oh, very awesome. Very awesome. Yeah, William Branson, Athol Ironworks, I think, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yep. Cool. Glad he led you to me.
Ken Foster says, is there a trick to getting out bad chisel marks other than grinding?
Ooh, that is a good question. That is a good question. Let me see here.
Need a scrap piece?
I'm thinking, yeah, if I had a little scrap piece with some chisel marks on it, I could showcase here real quick. Like, give me a second. This can work. I got a little scrap piece here.
Okay.
This can work. Let's put a chisel mark in it, and I'll show you how you can get rid of it.
Okay.
All right, can you see that?
Yep.
All right, camera number 2?
Yep.
Okay, great question. So the question is, how do you get rid of a bad chisel mark? Let's say you're trying to line out, your chisel in the center vein of a leaf. That's the most common thing that people do. Trying to chisel a center line of a leaf. Give me 1 second. Dropping stuff all over the place. Trying to make a center line on a leaf, and you make a double cut. So I'll illustrate that real quick. So I'm going to go out here to the edge, and then I'm going to make intentionally a secondary cut. Can they see that okay?
Yes.
Can you see that? Okay.
Yep.
All right, I'm going to show you how we get rid of that. So the way we get rid of that, if I can find the right tool to do the job. Now, you would do this, since I'm just set up with the camera over here at the treadle hammer, I'm going to show it here. But you would use a cross peen hammer with a fairly broad peen, something like this, okay? And can they see that second chisel mark?
Yes.
Okay, so the first chisel mark I made is my intentional chisel mark. That is this one here. That's the intended chisel mark. This one over here is not an intended chisel mark over there. So I'm going to get rid of that chisel mark. And if you've got to stop me, let me know, if any of this is unclear.
Okay.
So what we're going to do is we're going to take some of the material from the right as my perspective, probably left if you're looking at it there. We're going to take some of this material, and we are going to pull some of this material to close up that chisel mark. And then we're going to take and spread, we're going to go ahead and fan that out. So what we've done here is we've helped start to close that up. We've started to take a little bit of this surface material and we're starting to push that close. Now that mark is still there. That's not going anywhere. But what we're doing is we are changing the surface to make that mark go away. Okay? So that's what we're attempting to do. So usually you do this with a cross peen, and you don't have to hit it very hard. You just lightly tap it as you go across it, creating a little texture. Oops. Lost air cylinder. Give me a second, folks. Forgot to tighten that up. Jammed that up. I was doing some work on this earlier in the week. I need to tighten my jam nut up. Give me a second. Tighten, tighten, tighten. Boo, boo, boo. All right, she's getting tight now. That'll work.
Okay.
Okay. So we're just taking this surface material and pushing it back closed. So when you make a chisel mark, you're taking and pushing down the material and you're displacing it this way. All we're doing is we're pushing that back closed like this so it's less noticeable. You cannot get rid of it completely, but let's say it's in an area you really don't want to grind. This is how you can get rid of, make that chisel mark go right away. So now I'm going to switch to a flat tool, like a flat planishing tool. This could be anything, it just has to be somewhat flat. Where are you at? Looking. I think they're getting the idea.
Mitchell Edwards says, that's so cool. Now I know how to fix my bad chisel marks.
Yep. So now I'm going to just use like a flatter, or this would be the flat face of your hammer now. You switched from your cross peen to your flat face. To iron out all your lumpy bumpies. And you would just keep working that until you've ironed them out sufficiently so. And then you will come back, and here's the visual trick. We're going to re-chisel our line that we want now, because we've pushed that surface around. That original chisel line is now closing up, so we want to reopen that chisel line up. And just like that, no one's none the wiser.
Magic. You should probably do a video on that.
I should. Similarly, let's see here. Let's show a bad punch mark, eh? Do the same thing. Is that helpful? Are people finding that bit of information helpful?
Yeah. Janet says, thanks for that chisel mark gone wrong tip. I've had 1 or 5.
So, for this one, actually I need to grab a pair of tongs, so I'm not holding this in my hands real quick. Give me a second.
Okay.
All right, so for this one, I'm just going to put a center punch mark on this. I'm going to try to do it very lightly because I don't want to have to do this like crazy. But like, oops, you had a center punch mark in the wrong spot, right? You don't want that. Man, that's a real pill to have in the middle of your ironwork, right? Have a random punch mark that you don't want there anymore, right? So we're going to do the same. We're going to do the same method. We're going to use our fuller again. And again, the idea of this is not to go deep. You're not trying to really push stuff deep. You're just trying to lightly work the surface over. So you grab material. So you're just going to grab that material, make it go around it. See, we've already hidden it quite a bit, haven't we?
Mm-hmm.
It's still there. It's still there. We've used that to, you know, make that material go away the best we can. And we're going to come back in with a, you know, with our hypothetical flat face of the hammer. This is going to take me a little longer than I want to mess with it, but we're just going to call it that. You guys get the point in the other ones, but
if it was hot, it would work a little faster too.
Oh yeah, yeah. You could peen it a little hotter while it's closed. You know, the treadle hammer here is hitting with too much force. It's kind of the wrong implement for this. You really want a light hammer, and you just want to kind of peen and make like a chicken scratch over where you've made your boo-boo, and then you want to iron out all of that texture, and then away it goes. It disappears right with it. But you guys can see there's a little bit still left there. But it's more than I want to mess with, having to keep ironing this out. You know, you all get the point. But you get the point. You can iron something out like that. Mm-hmm. And you can make it disappear.
Hey, Dana, have a great weekend.
Take care, Dana. Thanks for stopping out.
James Haas says, good info.
Okay, cool. Glad that's helpful.
Awesome Sausage says, thankfully I've never had a bad chisel or punch mark to fix.
So that's how you fix it. Bad chisel lines are a little easier than punch marks because punch marks kind of spread out everywhere. But, you know, chisel marks, they just spread one direction, so you can cross peen it closed really easily and make it disappear. And the great thing about this is you haven't lost any material. You've just displaced it. So all you have to do is just rehammer this back up. You can rehammer this back up, and boom, that thing disappeared. Pretty neat, huh? Mm-hmm. Okay, there you go. Hopefully that'll be helpful, and people will enjoy that.
Yeah. Jesse Dunn says, Roy is magical.
Not magical, just wizened.
Wizened.
Been around the block a couple times. Been around the block a couple times. Had to fix a lot of mistakes.
Ken Foster says, this could save a few things from the scrap pile.
Yep. Well, someone once told me that the difference between a master and apprentice is how good they are at hiding their mistakes. So that a very wise smith once told me that. So, and that's true, very true. All right, let's give some stuff away, Jess.
All right, let's do that.
Since we're at a good stopping point on that, and then I will continue on. I'll do the fleur-de-lis hand pull, get a time check, see where we're at, and I might do some forming. I don't know. Not really feeling it tonight. I'll probably just stick with the chisel work and call it good at that.
Michael Gissy, thank you for the $50 super chat, he says, for shipping fund.
Thank you, Michael. I greatly appreciate that, brother. God bless you. Thank you for that. Thank you for the shipping fund stuff. For that donation. What else, babe? Anybody else got more questions, comments?
Yes, we do. Let's see. Keith had asked, Roy, do you finish the handles to fit the standard cabinet pulls based on the 32 millimeter increments, such as 96 millimeters or 128 millimeters between centers on the screw holes?
Say that all again.
So I guess there's a standardization for cabinet pulls where they're either 96 millimeters or 128 millimeters between the centers for the screw holes. So like, I guess if somebody was trying to replace cabinet handles with other ones,
You have to use millimeters on me. Thank you for that. Let me try to convert that in my head real quick. I'm going to say no. It's just whatever felt right. And generally speaking, what feels right is probably what their standardization is. So I just designed these, made them up, forged them, and I said, yep, that feels good. That seems to be about right. So that's kind of how that came up. So yep. I'll look into the standardization on those and see if these line up with those, but not sure. Most of the things I've done in blacksmithing, most of the forge work, unless a customer has specifically asked for a particular dimension, I have done it to what feels right for me. What feels right. Like I'll have Jessica, like for instance, I make most of my stuff, I make most of my ironwork to fit a woman's hands. So if it'll fit a woman's hands, most likely it'll fit a man's hands just fine. But women don't want to be grabbing on to every time they open a cabinet, you know, a big trucker knob, you know what I mean? They don't want to be grabbing this big gigantor handle where they get both hands on it. It's not delicate, it's not refined. So
yeah, Roy's grilling tongs are quite the workout.
Yeah.
Those things are like you squeeze them. It's like you're squeezing one of those hand machines.
But those are meant to be my grilling tongs. So.
Yeah. Yep.
Hence, they work for me just fine.
They do.
They work for me just fine. But if I were to be making them to sell, I would make them very, very lightweight and dainty and those sort of things. So.
Thank you.
Now, I'll always get accused of being a sexist for that. It's just the way it is. So get over it. Oh. Those who watch it on the replay, what? You're saying women don't have manly hands? If you want to start bragging as a woman that you have man hands, that's on you. You go right ahead. I won't stop you. We can put you on a scale next and ask your age all at the same time. So.
Danimal says if it fits Jess's hand, it definitely fits Roy's. My hands are narrower than his, but my fingers are actually a little bit longer. So.
Yep. 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 She has like longer, slenderer hands. I've got more of a paw, like a bear paw. No. I've got big hands. They are big hands. They're just not. They're thick. Like Jessica's hands are about a third the thickness, front to back, than my hands are. My hands are, well, again, built up with callus and muscle from years of abuse and use in that way. So, but generally, if you're designing ironwork, this is a pro tip. Pro tip for anybody out there: if you are designing ironwork for sale at shows, fairs, you name it, whatever it may be, design for the woman in mind. Period. 90% of the household decor items are bought by the wife, not the husband. If you're at a show, I guarantee you, the husband or the boyfriend or the whatever will go by and say, I could make that. I'm a blacksmith too, you know. And then the woman's like, oh, that's so nice. That's so cute. I want that. And she'll come buy it. She'll make him buy it. Big difference. So she will find a way of saying, honey, your work's not that great. Could you please buy that on the table there? So she will find a nice way of figuring that out to get that going. But that is, it's just facts. It's just facts. Generally, guys don't come up to my booth whenever we're out doing art shows or anything like that and buy anything. No. They'll come for the novelty of the blacksmithing, to talk shop about the blacksmithing stuff. And the women are there with the checkbook, paying for it. So keep that in mind. Pro tip.
Let's see. Trail Dust says, tell us about Thomas the hand model's hands.
Those ugly old things. He's got small hands. He does. That's right, Thomas. If you're watching, you got small hands, pal. Small hands. Thomas is scrawny. So he's scrawny. He's got a little smaller hands than I do. And Jessica both. So.
Yeah.
They're both skinny, like Jessica's, and small. Anyways, okay, we ready to get some stuff away?
Yes, now that we went down that
before
rabbit
Thomas
trail.
decides not to show up Monday morning.
He's like, well, fine, I'll keep my hands to myself.
Yeah, he's
at
like,
my
fine,
house.
you'll never see these hands again. Nah, Thomas wouldn't do that to me. He wouldn't do that to me. So, we got some great items to give away. I'm going to rapid fire through the giveaway items. So we're going to go through a quick giveaway section, give away all the stuff. Then we'll go back to the fleur-de-lis handle and answer some more Q&As. And then I'm going to call it after that, I think. So
okay.
I'm going to call it after the fleur-de-lis handle. So,
Okay, that works.
so we'll do some giveaways. Then we'll do the fleur-de-lis, do some Q&As, and we will call that it for this month. So better luck next month. So the very first thing I want to give away is a punch and chisel set. Since we're punching and chiseling things, right?
Yeah.
Into doing decorations, hey, works out good. It's serendipitous, right?
Yep.
Let's go to camera number 2, Jess. I'm going to show
All
off
right.
the punch and chisel set we're going to give away.
Okay.
Can they see?
Yes, they can.
So there you go. So here's this really nice punch and chisel set that we're going to give away. I ended up picking these up at my last blacksmithing conference that I went to. And I bought them specifically so I can give them away in this stream. And I believe these came from Andrew Larson. I don't see his insignia. It was either Andrew Larson or, forgive me, Dave Custer, or Philip Custer of Fiery Furnace Forge. I can't remember which one I got these from to give away, so you'll have to forgive me. But yep, so I'm going to go ahead and give these away now. So this is a punch and a chisel. So I'll go back to the main cam.
And this is open worldwide. All of our prizes today are.
Yep, all of our prizes are open worldwide. We're going to live it up. So for those of you who don't know how this works, I'm going to ring the anvil. When I come to a halt, Jessica's going to pick one name at random from the commenters down below who are actively commenting. So if you're listening on your phone, driving, pull over the side of the road and start tappy fingers McGeeing now. 3, 2, 1, go. Who do we have, Jess?
We have John Mayberry with Punch It.
John Mayberry, congratulations. You've been punched, sir. Been punched. Get with us through the contact email in the description. Do not contact us through Facebook. Do not contact us through Instagram. Contact us through the email within 24 hours. Claim your prize in the description. Oh.
And next.
And next. So. All right. All right. The next thing we're going to give away is a fleur-de-lis, since we're about to do a fleur-de-lis handle. Go to camera number 2, please.
Yes.
We're going to give away a fleur-de-lis trivet kit that we make. So again, we make these over at our website, blacksmithingblanks.com. As you can see, it comes pre-drilled, or it comes the holes are pre-blown through. They'll have to be reamed through with a drill. For your layout holes, it comes pre-laid out for the secondary ring. And so that secondary ring, you can then mark it and drill it, and then that's the finished result. You can see how that extra ring gives it, gives it a little extra depth in character, right? And so that there is basically a trivet kit. So that what makes it a trivet or gets it up off the ground is the 3 provided rivets that it comes with. So basically this project, you can texture up the center, you could do whatever you want. Most of the time people are just finishing these, basically. Drilling, finishing, and riveting these up as a very quick way of making a really cute trivet kit. It's a great anniversary gift, project items for like craft shows, art fairs, things like that, where you don't have to put a ton of time into it, and you can have this really awesome kit. You can have this really awesome trivet that's visually impressive on the table fast. So that's kind of the key here. So that there is our fleur-de-lis trivet kit, and we're going to go ahead and give that one away now.
All right.
All right. So when I get done ringing the anvil, somebody comment down below, fleur-de-lis, or de-lis, or fleur. Go fleur. Fleur. Somebody get a fleur in there. Who do we have, Jess?
Let's see. I'm looking for one with fleur.
No, you don't have to pick fleur.
Okay.
Here, let me go again.
All right, let me re-roll.
You don't have to hunt fleur. Just anybody, okay?
All right.
Random. Who do we have?
All right, we have Captain Corp America with the Trivet uses rivets.
The Trivet uses rivets. Wow, that's a mouthful. Who is that again?
Captain Corp America.
Captain Corp America, congratulations. You're the winner of the Fleur Philly Trivet Kit. Congratulations. Get with us in 24 hours through the contact email in the description to claim your prize. All right. Next Trivet Kit. Go to camera 2.
All right.
Boom. Plow. Look at that. Ain't that impressive?
Yes, yes.
Bam.
Hey, Yamas.
So this is a floral Trivet Kit. I think this is what? Floral?
One's number 1 and one's number 3. I guess I'll have to
I
go
forget.
look. I better go look. That way
I want to say this is 1.
Person. Okay.
I believe this is 1.
Number 1? Okay.
Yep.
You could write number 1 on it and question mark?
Yeah,
So
I'll just write 1 on this with the marker, okay?
All right.
So this is a fancy floral design Trivet Kit. Same principle, has the same 3 layout holes, has the same rivets, and then you can just rivet it up and make a really nice quick project like that to beautify your home with. And if you get spunky, think about it, what we're doing tonight, you could add some chisel lines, you could add some maybe texture lines, right? There's a lot of things you could add to make this pop right out. So we're going to go ahead and give this one away now. I'll go ahead and write 1 on this one.
All righty.
I'll do 1 in question mark. So that's the one we're going to give away now, okay?
Okay.
All right, are you ready?
Mm-hmm. Ready.
Steady, Eddie, go. Who do we have?
We have David Henderson with floral trivets.
David Henderson, congratulations. You've won a floral trivet. Congratulations. You won the first one of the evening. Get with us, contact, email, description, yada, yada, yada. You know how it goes.
Mm-hmm. Here in a moment, I'll need to unlock the house. Do you want me to go do that real quick, or?
Let's finish with this one, please.
Okay, all right.
And then we can do that.
Okay.
So, or you can send somebody to grab a key.
Mm-hmm.
Okay?
Okay.
All right. We're at camera number 2?
Yes.
All right. This is floral style 2. We got many floral styles. That's why we forget which one this one is.
That one looks like a sunflower-ish
Yeah,
kind
we'll
of.
call that a sunflower one, yeah. So this is the floral style 2 here. Same principle, same kit, just a different cutting, a different insignia type thing that you can mess with and play with however you like. And it comes with the rivets. Cool?
Mm-hmm.
All right, camera 1, please.
All right.
All right, so if you're interested in this, we will draw a name now at random. Who do we have?
We have Ken Foster. That looks more solid. Hold heat longer.
Ken Foster. Congratulations. You got the it looked more solid, hold heat longer. Ken Foster, congratulations. You're the winner of the second kit. Trivet Kit. Number 2. Cool, cool, cool. All right. You said you got to go, hon?
Yeah, or at least set these outside of the so they can
Okay.
get to them.
Well, whatever you got to do, go for it.
Okay.
All right. Well, I will draw to you all while Jessica takes that brief respite she needs to do. Hi. How you doing? It's just me, just you. Or if she walked away with her microphone. Hopefully she put her microphone down. Let's see. Does not look like so. She has not dropped her microphone. So that goes. All right. Let me see if this is still connected. Don't want to be creating weird pops for you guys. And looks like it's still connected. So, anywhoozle. So, how's it going? You know what? I'm going to come sit around the other side. That feels better. I'll sit around the other side. Look at what you guys are doing. I'm at the main cam area. Yeah, you ramping up for a Roy Rand? I might. Yeah, High Desert Forge and Ironworks. She's all mic'd up. You're still mic'd up? Oh, it's over there? Okay. All right, everyone was worried that you're heading to the restroom and still mic'd up. I was like, oh no, she left. I'll text her real quick. And then I look, I'm like, oh, she left her phone. Well, there it is.
Yeah, that would be pretty bad.
Roy touched something. You've disappeared now.
Oh, yep.
I did not touch nothing. She turned something off.
I did.
Had to
magically from across the room. Let's see. Logan Nicholson, do you use a fly press at all? I love to use the left fly press. I use that when I come out here and work on stuff.
Yep, I use a fly press all the time. Use this fly press. I use that fly press. Got 2 different fly presses to choose from. So, all right. What else, Jess?
All right.
Questions, comments before we move on and I give away this dual bay guillotine toolkit.
All right. Speargrass says, if you put legs on those trivets, they make a pretty good camping surface for pots and kettles.
Yeah, that'd be cool too. Yeah, you can dispense with the rivets and just put a longer tenon leg on there. That's pretty cool.
Keith Tenzing, we use DaVinci Resolve for editing.
Yep.
They have a free version. We used that one for years before upgrading.
And now we use a paid version of the same swag.
And then we still have the double bay to give away, don't we?
Yep, we still have the double bay guillotine tool to give away.
Alrighty.
And that shall conclude the giveaway items. All right, we good?
Yes, we are.
Okay, who's ready for one more giveaway? And before we do, how many people we have in the shop
We have
this evening, my lovely wife?
49 currently.
49. That's a big number.
Almost 50.
I thought for sure everybody would forget about us since we missed a week.
Missed a month.
Yeah, missed a month. Yeah, missed an entire month. That makes it sound so much worse. When you miss one live stream, you miss a month of time. So that's a long while. So
it is.
Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and give away one of our dual bay guillotine toolkits. So this is a newly released item this year. It's a new tool that I've come up with. It's got a nice lever handle. I'm not sure if you have a video of that playing or not.
Not easily accessible. I can start clicking on stuff, but I might be
okay, well, don't go
pictures.
clicking on anything. So,
Okay.
yeah, it would have been good to put a picture up of that. I do have one over here.
Yeah, I figured you
I
had
think
some.
I can kind of show off. Next time, let's have a video ready
Okay.
to load up for that.
All right.
Double and single. Makes it a little easier than me having to reset all of my video equipment. But we'll just go from main cam. Most of you have already seen this. Some of you have not. But it is a dual bay like this guillotine tool. So it has a lever arm actions where you can use your hammer or something to pick the dies up out of your way so you can insert your steel in there and then set it back on and go to work and go to town. So the kit comes with everything you need to make up this, what you see here. It comes with all the things you need except for the pins. That's one thing I don't have, the pins for the dies. You will have to supply your own pin or bolt to go through there because I don't know what you're going to do with your personal situation, but you get all of the blank stuff to be able to do that. And there is a full tutorial of how to take and put one of these together and how to make the dies. So you can look that up on YouTube just fine. But that is the dual bay guillotine toolkit that we're going to be giving away this evening. Sound good?
Sounds good.
Good. All right, I'm going to set this away. Again, this is for the double bay guillotine toolkit. And I will start rolling that beautiful bean footage on the hammer now.
All right.
All right, and 3, 2, 1, go. Who do we have, Jess?
We have John Eccles with double bay.
John who?
Eccles, I guess.
Eccles?
Yes. Eccles. It's just a guess.
Eccles?
Maybe.
John Eccles or Eccles or whatever, ECCES guy?
Mm-hmm.
You guy. That guy. Congratulations. You are the winner of the Double Bay Guillotine Toolkit. Be sure to get with us through that contact email in the description, and we will send that out to you.
Oh, we got some ladies who are dropping comments too, trying to help their man win.
That's a good woman right there, trying to get him to win a thing.
Yeah.
Or trying to steal the thing away from their significant other there.
The more tools they have, the more things you can have them make for you. So
there you go. That's the way to think about it.
pretty good thing.
That's the way to think about it. I like the way you're thinking.
High Desert says, does it come painted green too?
No, it does not come painted green. You can paint it whatever color under the rainbow you like, or multiple colors.
Mm-hmm.
Oh. Anyways, well, thank you all for the support. Thank you for the $50 super chat. Again, that goes a big way in the shipping and helping fund these giveaway streams, so we do appreciate you. And thank you for everybody who's been purchasing blanks from us on a regular basis. It allows us to do these great things, so we couldn't appreciate you all enough. And channel members. Mm-hmm. Don't want to forget the channel members. You guys are awesome and rock solid, and we'll be getting some better content and good content out for you. So thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you for everyone. Thank you. Round of applause. Huh?
KMS says, lady here wanting one for herself, smiley face.
Yeah, there you go.
So. David Henderson says, got to get my woman in here commenting for me too.
Yeah, see? Now you guys got it.
It's, what was it? Keith's wife won something once.
Yep, yeah. Lauren, yep. Yep, she won, and she's like, ha-ha!
The more the merrier.
Mm-hmm. All right, we ready to continue on then?
Mm-hmm.
Is that the plan?
Yes.
Okay, I shall continue on my little shabazz here.
All righty.
Get in here nice and tight. We can go camera number 2, please.
Yep.
Okay.
Keith Tenzing just wants an autographed picture of the CCI crew. That would be like a fun Christmas, like if we did Christmas cards with a photo.
That would be a good one, huh?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I don't know who would want such things, but apparently Keith.
Yeah.
All right. So continuing with our little theme that we've done already, we're going to make this look really cool. Again, it's already kind of decorative, but pretty flat. Pretty flat, looks pretty basic. We're going to go ahead and we're going to use our chisel line. We're going to go ahead and use our chisel, just like so. And we're going to go ahead and cut in right along here, right along our little blossom here on the end. We're going to put a little nick in there. Can we see that okay?
Mm-hmm.
All right, I'm going to do that to the other side as well. Put those little nicks in there and work those back. There, that looks pretty good. I got to work this one a little more. So you see how quick we can come up with something. Look at that.
Yeah.
Already the change in that is coming on pretty quick, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. It is.
That change is really something, in very, very, very short order. That change has already occurred. So now I'm going to go ahead and set that chisel down, and I'm going to use a little different tool. This tool is basically, it's like that fuller that I showed you earlier, but it's cupped instead. So there's a hollow in it. So this is a concaved fuller. or convex, depending on what side or edge you want to talk about there. But this is a curved fuller, similar to like making a curved chisel. So now I'm going to use this curved fuller, and I'm actually going to use it on this part right here. See how that's curved out? I'm going to use it right behind that chisel line. See the look?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Now we're changing it with that. I'm going to try to go a little bit deeper out at the very tip. And let it taper off as it comes up into the rest of the thing. So, can they still see okay? This still looks really good, even without that light.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's still doing good.
Okay, I'm gonna stop. I'm just not gonna mess with that light right now.
Mm-hmm.
There we have it. Now you guys see where we're going. Now I'm gonna rotate this the opposite direction. Or I might have to switch hands and see how that feels. I think I would rather shift this around. Doot. There we go. And now I'm going to use that to drive into this bloom area. Can they see that okay?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, that's nice.
Gives it a completely different look, don't it?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Again, with this, you could choose to take and put, you know, you could stretch this middle out a little bit, thin this out a little bit, and put your screw right where these come together, all these converge, or your nail, or however you're attaching it. And then you could do some more decorative things along this, you know, along this final part here. You could do a lot of different things to that and change the look. I'm going to use this curved fuller just a little bit. I'm going to give this a little bit more detail up through here. Starting deeper there. Less deep there.
Yeah.
Now, see how we're changing the look of this whole thing? This whole piece. Totally different look, ain't that right?
Mm-hmm. It is.
So I want to show you guys where this is at. Jess, if you could go over into your forging area and grab your butcher block brush that I made you up one of these in full for a handle. I want to showcase how this actually comes about and looks pretty darn good. This is a little different style than what I did for hers. It's the same fleur-de-lis. I just did a couple little changes, a couple little different things to it that made it look a little nicer, in my opinion. Give me a second. There. Give it a little line. Looks nice that way. Okay. So, can you guys see how I've given that dimension? This Now I had to scrunch this up a lot so it would fit her brush, or even remotely fit her brush. But you can see how I've given this, I've given this a lot of dimension. Can they see that okay? In the
Yep.
video?
Yeah. Yep, that works pretty good.
So you can see how something like that can look. You see how I've domed this handle as well? I've made it like a cup. It's a domed. It's got that nice classical hourglass look to it.
Yeah, it turned out really nice. I like the little flicks at the end too. Yeah, the little
Yep.
flicks at the end of the...
And those I gave a little dimension where I flicked the edge up. And again, you could shape that, get a little 3-dimension action to it. Just give that a little bit of shape, a little bit more shape, and there you go. There's her brass brush handle, ready to go to town, see? With that kind of look.
Yeah.
Now again, I had to really bubble this up so this way it would fit on her brush. My preference would have been to have it more out and more, you know, a little nicer. So this is a little bubbly up, but
Yeah,
hey,
I mean,
it works.
maybe this small one maybe would have worked. I don't know. Maybe it would have been too small for that
Yep.
application.
So there you go. So now you guys can kind of see how that application could go. Again, this is a little different. This one had a bit of shape to it, but it didn't really have any lines or texture or anything else. Now I've just elevated that up with a few more lines and chisel marks and cut in parts, see?
Yeah, it gives it a bit of a different look.
And just like that, you have some decoration to it. Cool. I want to show one other thing while I'm here and doing, so I'll set this off to the side. While I'm here and doing, any questions on that so far?
Let's see, Robert Lana says I like it.
Awesome. Thank you, Robert.
Carrie Kolstad says here for the party.
What?
Carrie Kolstad says I'm here for the party.
Here for the party. Well, good to have you.
Bortkov says love all the cold forging.
Awesome.
Bill Will had said quit shaking, Roy.
Quit shaking on it, huh?
Yep. Yeah.
Cool. Cool. Sounds like everybody's enjoying it, huh?
Yes.
Good.
Question from Logan says, do you normalize your work after so much cold forming?
Yeah, so it's going to be hot formed, so it's going to end up losing a lot of that tension, a lot of the issues that it has right now. From being cold formed, it's going to lose a lot of that once we actually heat it and form it. So it's going to be a little less stressed out, is what I'm saying when I get there, when I get to that portion, huh?
A little less stressed out, huh?
Yeah, it'll be a little less stressed out once we get it hot, and bring it into the forming mode. If you do a lot of cold forming, I mean, you're doing a bunch of cold forming, it is really best. It's a best practice to anneal a couple times while you're doing that. Anneal and pickle your steel so you can get the scale off. If you're doing a ton of cold chasing and forming work, you're going to want to do that. So let's go to camera 2, Jess.
Sure.
So on this, I'm going to put, again, just because since I'm here, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to take this from, again, a standard blank edge like this kind of rough edge here. I'm going to come along the edge of my anvil, quote unquote, or my die here, and I'm going to put a bevel all the way down this piece. I'll see if I can't show that off better here in a minute. I'm putting on this piece what's known in the industry as a bevel line or a shadow line, better yet. Can they see that shadow line a little bit?
Yeah, yep. You can definitely see that.
See the shadow line?
Uh-huh.
That change in plane, that change in surface plane makes all the difference in a piece of ironwork, looking finished and unfinished. So it thins this edge up a little bit, and it also gives it something, it just gives a little bit more roundness to it. It looks, like I said, it looks a bit more complete and finished. So that bevel line there, again, giving that little bit of a shadow line in the industry really sells this, you know, really sells the look of this thing. Now, let's say if I had my hammer, or I had a much smoother, curvature punch, or you know, round ball punch or something like that that I could use. Not sure I do. Not something with the radius that I'm looking for. But say if I had something with a nice broad inside radius, I could come along and form this out on the inside of that leaf there and give that a little bit more flow from the shadow line into the actual leaf, and it'll become more and more three-dimensional as you do that. So this is the wrong pitch or angle for that. I can try it once and see how she plays out. Give it a little bit. Again, this is all stuff that you could do, you know, by hand with a ball peen. And in fact, that might be a bit preferable to this, because this is going to overdo it a little bit, whereas you want this effect to be somewhat subtle. And then let me chase that back up real quick. I'm just cleaning up my curvature. Nice. Can they see the difference now?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yep. Well, it does give it a very consistent look, more so than just ball peening it, which, I mean,
yeah,
for some applications might be preferred.
But do you see the difference here? Do you see how this line, how that,
yeah,
versus the other side?
Yeah, I see that.
So this is how we can start breaking up that form with some simple, again, these are all just simple forms. These are all just simple, you know, like round, you know, these are just, again, this is a curved fuller, right? It has its own different little look to it, but it's coming around, it makes it all come together in the end. You can see how that's going along. And now if I come along and I take this outer edge, I'm giving this all three-dimensional stuff. I'm going a little bit on a tangent here, but I want you guys to experiment. If you do undertake some of this work, try some of this cold chasing work in your own shops. But now, take note, we did the inside curve of this. See it? Now we're going to do the outside of this here. I'm going to roll that down. It's all about getting the right angle on it. And again, this is where it'd be a little handier to be able to do this with by hand, with some hand chasing tools. Yeah, that'll show the look I'm going after there. I'll dress this up just a bit more. Go ahead and dress this. Take out the little bump in that, little lumpy bump. Nice.
Sweet.
Can you see the difference?
Mm-hmm, yeah. Yeah, that gives it more dimension for sure.
Do we see how that looks? That's a different leaf altogether. And that's just by installing some more shadow lines. That's just by installing some different shadow lines. making that more complete. That is the difference between a handle that you're going to sell for $10 at a fair, you know, say 25 to 50 bucks, to a couple $100 for a pair. That's the difference. And some people, I could hear it wincing if I did a video right now. A couple $100, you know, it's, yes, a couple $100. Big, big, big difference. And it's just as simple. It's just this simple change of thinking and just new planes and how to bring all that together. And so you can see how we've progressed this piece from that to that and further on. I would say that's a pretty big difference, ain't it?
It is, yeah.
It's a pretty striking difference. And again, having that shadow line, again, it took no time at all to take and do this and put this through here. So speaking of Roy rants, I should probably let one loose here, because this always comes up whenever you probably won't see it. It'll always happen when people are watching the replays and things come up. I'll get questions and, you know, I'll get comments where people will talk about how blank work, you know, working with blanks isn't real blacksmithing. Or if you'll do this and you show it on an online forum, you have all the wise old sage, you know, all the talking head voices in the world there telling you that this isn't real blacksmith work. And what it is no, this is educated blacksmith work. This is work that is elevated beyond just being a stupid monkey thumper and all you do is smash hot iron, right? So this is where you start thinking about how you can elevate your ironwork. And it's not something that has to be gatekept for only the elite. This is something that you can do with very simple tools, and you can start doing this in your own shop and producing this level of quality ironwork out there with just a few changes. And you can really bring and elevate up your ironwork if you choose to do so. Again, there's nothing wrong with doing a little bit of surface texture and bending this up and calling it a day. There is the right product for the right client at every level, no matter whether they're way up here and they're willing to buy $10,000 cabinet handles, or there's people way down here that wouldn't even pay you $2 and buy it at a thrift store. Okay, so there is the right price for everybody along the economic ladder. But with your own ironwork to take and level up stuff, I hope you guys can see how just using some simple chisels and some punches, you can really elevate something simple like a blank or a blank shape. There is a lot of work into elevating ironwork like this and taking it to that next level and making it really, really, really outstanding and worth something. So I hope that encourages you. And yes, this is real blacksmith work, even though this has all been cold formed and forged so far. All the impressions and chasing work is forging because we've displaced material. And then this thing would get formed up and finished and put really proudly on a drawer or trunk handles or you name it. It would be really, really well done. So I'll show you off the ones that we've completed this evening to just give you guys some thoughts. So there you go. So we've completed all of these this evening. You can see how we took them from the plain to the exotic. That's a better way of displaying them. Right?
Each one has its own unique style.
So we took something from plain to exotic.
I like them. They're very unique. And there's all kinds of ways you can go with it too.
Yep.
I think we have 6 different styles in total, so this is only 3 of them.
Yeah, this is only 3 styles that we offer. We have more in stock that you can choose from. And even shapes we probably haven't even thought of yet that if somebody wanted custom made, we could. So, you know, just again, think of it in your own mind how you would do these and form these up. You know, like I said, you could very easily see these go from this flat form and become handles for things to fully formed out. You can see how decorative that would get real quick, huh?
Yeah, very.
That's what these make. So anyways, so that's it for that. That's what I wanted to share this evening, is how chisel work and stuff. I didn't get around to doing the hooks, but I think that's okay. I think everybody gets the point and where I was going. Excuse me. At least I hope they did. Let me go back to the main cam, Jess.
Okay. Robert
Tidy
Lana
that
says
up there.
beautiful.
What's that?
Robert Lana says they're beautiful.
Well, thank you, Robert. I want to dote on Robert Lannis for a little bit. I will say out of a good majority of my subscribers, because there are several of you out there, it's not just Robert Lannis, but I want to dote on Robert Lannis. Robert Lannis for a little bit, if you go check out his Instagram profile at the Treadle Shed, right? Or at the Treadle Shed, he has taken a lot of what I teach and a lot of the ironwork that I've expressed and I've shown, and he's put his own spin on it, and he's elevated his own ironwork. And it is really cool to take and see his journey and see how from some of the stuff he was doing before, and then, I take a lot of pride. Again, he is a good smith on his own right. He just, I take a lot of pride in him of seeing some of my own influences in his ironwork. I like seeing that. That's why I share what I do, right? That's why I'm teaching the way I am, and I'm trying to push these things out there for you all, the masses, and not hide it out, not hide it behind anything. There's no, I'm not keeping it anyway. I'm trying to share this as much as I can with the broader forging community. And Robert Lannis, he just really takes it to heart, and he uses what I teach to improve his ironwork and to show off and take it in totally new ways of things that I wouldn't have even done. So it's really cool to see that and see that skill progression and things like that. So anyways, sorry to embarrass you, bud, but I'm a big fan of Robert Lannis's work. So I am. So he's always been he's a good friend and a great fan of the channel. So I love seeing that. I said all that because I would like to see more of that. I would like to be tagged in your guys' projects where if I've taught something and it was interesting to you or it helped you through something, I would love for you guys to tag me on social medias on that, or share pictures, email some photos or stuff of things that you've gotten into that you were inspired by maybe some of the things I teach, because that's what makes it feel all worth it. At the end of the day, that's what makes this whole thing, YouTube, teaching classes, going to conferences, demonstrating, all the work that goes into these things, that's what makes it worth it, is when I see that it clicks. And, you guys are doing something cool by your own right, with your own imagination, but using some of the techniques you've learned from me along the way. So definitely, if you have been inspired by me or something like that, tag me out there on socials, and let me see where you're at. I would love to see what you guys enjoy creating out there. So questions, Jess. We'll end this up. That was enough of my demonstration and enough of all that business. We'll finish with some questions and maybe lead out with a poem, eh?
Yes.
And we'll go from there, okay?
Sure.
Q&A time.
Ken Foster says, would a flat collar around the fleur base look nice?
A black what?
A flat collar.
A flat collar around the fleur-de-lis base, like if they attached a little flat collar? Well, heck yeah, it would. Look great. Do it.
Logal Nicholson says, it seems that my online sales have fallen off. Are you seeing anything similar?
So our business structure is a little bit different. So it depends on what your item is, what your ironwork is. We've went through a slow period. So we went through a slow period in the CNC side of things because most blacksmiths are not out there wanting to, most of the people who buy things from us through the CNC side of the deal are not, forging when it's 140 in the shop, right? Like you're a hobbyist, you can be like, nah, the AC feels pretty good today. I think I'll just wait to forge until it gets cooler in the fall. So we're actually picking up in sales right now when it comes to the CNC side of things. On the art side of things, there's always a gap. So on the art side of things, there's a good amount of work to be had and a good amount of sales to be had during the summer, like during wedding seasons, during fairs, craft shows, festivals, right? People are trying to get stuff done. If you do a lot of outdoor type things, there's a lot of outdoorsy stuff going on, right? People are moving and grooving and making money, and generally everybody's a little happier that it's warm and sunny. So not me specifically. I like when it's cold and breezy and a little cloudy, but that's me. But there's always a gap, like right now, start of fall into the Christmas season, when we were doing nothing but my hand-forged ironwork and nothing else. No YouTube, no nothing. These are the early days. We always had a fall off, and we called it the dip. And there's always a dip, no matter your industry, every single year, no matter what industry you're in. It doesn't matter whether you're in the private sector or you're in governmental. It doesn't matter your regular day job. You may not see it at your day job, but your boss is probably like freaking out right now, depending on what industry you're in, right? Or if you're doing it for your sales on yourself, you're starting to see that dip. So it may be that whatever you're offering, whatever your normal selling products are, your audience, they haven't went anywhere. You know, your clients, they haven't really went anywhere. They just aren't interested in that thing right now. Their brains are moving on to pumpkin spice lattes and Halloween and whatever else, right, for fall. Their brains moved on to a little something else. Doesn't mean it won't come back for you. So just kind of keep that in mind, that every industry has a dip. So for artwork, the dip happens from right around September-ish. So it goes from about September to November, you know, end of October, early November. And then that's where the dip usually occurs. So it's not unregular. So hopefully I can encourage you with that. It's something that you can almost set your clock by. And we have for many years, haven't we, hun?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Again, our dip has changed because of the type of ironwork and the type of clientele I go after, and the type of the way that the business gets ran now versus my early years. So our dip has shifted, but we still have a dip. We still have a dip in finances and slow periods. So,
David Henderson said, speaking of slowing down, I have had the worst craft fair sale since I've ever had recently. $30 for the whole day when I was usually averaging around $300. I blame it on it being $104 that day, but it was very discouraging.
Yeah, so let me give some encouragement there. I think this is a good thing. I want to give a lot of encouragement for the slow times. And David Henderson, like, dude, totally been there, haven't we, hun? Mm-hmm, yeah. We've been there where we paid more to be there than what we made. Mm-hmm. Like, we paid a lot, and we didn't have it to give. We didn't have it to give. We ate squash for like a week after that, right? Like, out of our garden. Like, that's all we had, squash with every meal, because we couldn't afford anything else. So, so we've been there. Like, we spent money we didn't have because it was supposed to be this big show, and we spent a lot on the booth space, and we were in the whole $300 at the end of the event. And when you don't have debt, you know, we don't have credit cards or anything like that. That's $300 in the negative, as in, you're going to give up something for the month. Might be electricity, might be rent, who knows, for that particular month. So to give some encouragement there, stick with it. Stick with it. That's the encouraging word I want to say. Buyer opinion per show can be completely and radically different. You could go to one show one year and just totally blow up and, like, dude, sell $10,000 at a show. And then that same show the following year, not even make your table space back, make your booth back, or your booth space. Doing the shows and fairs market is a bit of a gamble. It's always a gamble when you go out. And so the way you beat that is by being very, very active. Do as many shows in craft venues and art fests and whatever as you can. You basically just have to shotgun blast out your work and see what sticks, basically, for that year. And that's just kind of how the art craft show market does. There are some shows that you can dedicatedly be prepared for and say, okay, hey, this show usually will do this much for me. And be fine, and it'll be close to those numbers. But that takes many, many, many years, and a clientele that's used to seeing you be there. Like, if you're the caramel apple vendor guy at a particular fall fest, and you've been doing it for a decade, you're pretty much can almost guarantee what your Apple sales will be, right? Like, but as an iron worker, it's a little harder because we're trying to decorate people's homes, and our client base may be a bit more lucid and liquid there. Jess, do you have anything you'd like to add before I give my next little tip there?
Yeah, weather definitely does make a big difference, especially like if it's downpouring. Like even at the blacksmithing conference we were at, we had like a vendor booth that set out there, and it's just like in the rain, like nobody was moving. They were like staying at the demos under the tents, and there was just fewer people out in general while it was downpouring, because people don't particularly like going out and getting soaked to the bone. So it does vary a little bit, based on things outside of your control.
Yep, it really does. So the other thing, now I hesitate, I give pause. I'm not into politics, and I don't bring them up on the channel for a whole host of reasons. And so be prepared. Quick trigger alert for everyone out there. I'm not talking about politics, but I will say they do affect your business. In an election year, doesn't matter who's on the ticket, in an election year, you will always have a slug down in the market, in your business. Always. It's been happening to us. We've been through how many in 16 years? That's what? 8? Mm-hmm. Is that right? No, 4 years. 4. We've been through 4 election cycles, right? Because they're 4-year terms.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm. So we've been through 4 election cycles. And I can guarantee you, every single one, our business tanked a little bit. Because people get all Twitter-pated, people get all freaked out about who the next whatever is going to be, right? And people start kind of drawing back the money a little bit and start going, well, maybe I won't go and spend, whatever it is they were going to spend on some little doodad or bracket. People start doing that subconsciously, even without knowing that they're doing it. So in an election year, on an election cycle, you will always see your sales dip a little bit. You always see it dip. It may not be the whole year, that's pretty bad, but it'll definitely, the closer we get to the elections, it'll throw things off a little bit. So just like we did pretty well last year, that wasn't an election year, we did pretty good last year in sales during the Christmas rush. This year, I expect it to be down. I don't want to doom forecast, but it would not be surprising to me if it's 15, 20% off, down from where I would hope it to be. So, and it's just, that doesn't mean I did anything wrong, doesn't mean I ain't got a good product I'm offering, doesn't mean anything about the business whatsoever. It's just people start hanging on to their money and hanging on to the seat of their britches when we come into a cycle, into an election cycle. Now, good news. Good news. If you want to know what the good news is, after the elections, like after the first of the year, there's usually a jump back. There's a bounce back to business. There is. Because everyone's like, well, my guy didn't win. Oh, well. And now they're right back out there doing what they would normally do, and they're flush with cash. And so you usually see a spike after the election. But you go through a dip because everyone's, crazy. Everyone's crazy right now. Everybody has similar fears and worries about stuff. And you'll see that little dip happen, and it trends every single cycle. Or at least that's been consistent, hasn't it, hun? Mm-hmm. For the last 16 years. We've been doing it as a business. And that doesn't matter whether you're in, industry, like you're production cutting stuff, or you're a production welding shop, or machinist, or welder, fabricator, skyscraper builder, concrete guy, doesn't matter. You're going to dip in an election year. Your business will suffer in an election year. But it's kind of how it is. My best advice to anybody who's out there suffering with that is to make sure that when you have those really, 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 really good months, say like what's coming up at Christmas time, during November, starting in November and going to about the first week, or going to about a week out from Christmas, take your money that you're balling out of control with in those months and save it back. I know, it's not fun. It's a lot funner to go spend all that extra bonus money. Save it back for your low months.
Especially if that's
fill in.
what you're trying to do full time. I mean, some people, it's just a bonus thing.
If you're doing it as a hobby, you don't have anything to gripe about. If you make $100, great. If you make $7,000, even better, you know, but it doesn't matter. But if you're trying to pay your bills and keep your lights on and rent and all this other stuff going by the sweat of your brow and, you know, and the ring of your anvil, then you need to take and put back that money in the good times for the bad times to even out the lumps and bumps.
Perfect timing, Jeff Killian. He just got back from a craft show. That's what we've been discussing.
Hey, Jeff, yeah, we were just talking about you. All good things. All good things.
You can share your experience if you want, how it went for you.
Yeah. How'd your craft show go? Oh.
Logan Nicholson says, thanks for the perspective. I'm plowing in hope, stocking up for Christmas.
You're very welcome for the perspective. So.
Speargrass says, and with the economy, people are saving for Christmas at the moment. Many people don't start buying things for Christmas until October, November.
Yep. Oh.
And Joss Montgomery says, I went to one craft show and made one direct sale. It was disappointing, but later on, one person I met at the show contacted me afterward, and it turned out into repeat sales of custom work.
There you go. See?
Yep.
So don't give up. Don't give up. Ladies and gents, don't give up. Keep going. Keep plowing ahead. That furrow ain't going to take and make itself out there in that field, is it? You're going to have to keep on plowing.
Yeah. Let's see.
Was that it?
Drakier W says, what are your tips for practicing? What are your tips for practicing for new people, new blacksmiths?
So, fundamentals. Don't focus on making an item. Practice a technique and practice it multiple times, at least 10 times. Now, the reason why I say at least 10 times, there's a reason for that, and in my beginner classes I can show it. Let me grab this key ring here. I'll go camera 2, Jeff.
Okay.
I'll take my fundamentals key ring. Take it here. Here's my fundamentals key ring. Are we at camera 2?
Yes.
Okay. So in the world of blacksmithing and the craft of blacksmithing, you come down all of everything that I've ever forged in my life, that any blacksmith has ever forged in their life, comes down to using one of these 7 basic fundamental forging practices. There's tapering, or drawing out material. There's upsetting material. That's reducing its length by increasing its width. There's bending, twisting as an item, punching holes, splitting, and finally, last but not least, forge welding as a fundamental forging process. This is something I looped back and forge welded into itself there. So we can go back to the main cam. Pick one of those 7 fundamental foundational forging practices and make a taper. Aim for a 1-inch long taper. I want a 1-inch taper. Doesn't matter the size bar stock. 1-inch taper. Make it, cut it off. Do that 10 times. And label them as you cut them off and you set them off the side. You go 1 through 10, right? Number them, 1 through 10. And when you do that, okay, there's a clear progression that you will see before you of your skills and your accuracy to create a 1-inch taper. Now, if you can make a 1-inch taper accurately, you can make a 2-inch, 3-inch, 6-inch, 10-inch, 12-inch, 24-inch, 87-inch, doesn't matter. You will be able to make an accurate taper that looks good, that's clean in appearance, that's symmetrical or asymmetrical if that's what you were going for. You will be able to make that same thing again and again and again, like with your eyes closed. Now, you've heard the rules of mastering something. To master something, it takes 10,000 hours or so, right? Well, in just 10, doing this 10 times, focusing on one fundamental and not deviating, not making nail, not trying to go make knives and a bunch of other nonsense, Start with just practicing the fundamentals every time you go out in the shop. Make 10 of one of these fundamentals. What you will see is your first one will be meh. It won't be really great. You'll think it's great. The second one will be better than the first. The third one will be like, hot dog, I got this. The fourth one will be terrible. It'll be the worst one. It'll be the worst one of the lot. Your fourth one in, guaranteed. I can guarantee you. With all the years I've been teaching, it's always the fourth one a student makes. That's an absolute garbage. It's like you tied your hand behind your back and you're forging with your kneecap. You're like, what in the world did I do? And then from that fourth one on, they will progressively get better and better and better and better and cleaner and cleaner and cleaner and cleaner until perfect at the end. So try it out. Any of you can. Any of you can. Let me know how that works for you. But the same thing with splitting, twisting, bending, upsetting, punching, drifting work, forge welds. Practice, practice, practice. Make it yay long, cut it off, and try again. Make it yay long, cut it off, try again. And if you do that, I promise you your work will get better.
I suppose if you did that every single time you forged too, like you'd be, quite good.
Yeah. And for the class, since I'm now teaching a class that's like online live stream, does anybody know why that is? Anybody know why that works so well? Doing drills, forging drills like that of fundamentals. Every time you step in your shop, you should be doing a fundamental forging drill. Does anybody know why? They writing any comments?
No, not yet. But Speargrass said, he says there's 15 processes: tapering, upsetting, twisting, flattening, bending, turning, spreading, punching, drifting, squaring, rounding, chiseling, swaging, filing, fullering, and welding.
No, there's 7. There are 7 fundamentals. I appreciate you, Speargrass, but there's 7. And there's 7 if you think about it. We can always talk about that later, but
Gene Simonelli says warm-ups.
7 for a reason.
And Speargrass said I already answered, which was everything in smithing is about the 15 basic reshuffled and combined in various ways. You just get better at the basics and combining them. Mm-hmm. And Ethel Ironworks says you step away too long and you get rusty. So,
I'll explain why that's so important. The reason why this, and you'll have to forgive me, some people don't like it. I'm speaking with authority on this subject because I am the authority on this subject. I've taught a ton of stuff, and it may sound like an arrogant statement, but the reason why this is so fundamental is that there is no replacement, not videos, not classes, there's no magic pixie powder or dust, there is no drink or elixir you can take that will make you a master. Nothing replaces time spent with hammer and anvil. That's it. End of story. If you take, you sum up everybody's little techniques and tricks and all this stuff, you can argue all sorts of stuff every which way under the sun, but there is no replacement for time spent with hammer and anvil. The more time you spend doing that thing, whatever it is, tapering, punching, welding, splitting, twisting, doesn't matter. In your shop, spending time doing those exact things is what will give you the mastery you're after. That's where that statement of 10,000 hours comes from, right? Well, how do you get 10,000 hours? Well, 1 hour at a time, right? 1 hour at a time. So there's a big difference between someone who's forged, say, once a week for the last 50 years of their life. There's a big difference in skill level versus someone who forges daily, every day of their life for 50 years. There's a big skill set difference, right? So there's a big skill level difference there. And you may say, well, it's still 50 years, it still put 50 years, but time at the anvil is the only difference between those two. Somebody who spent, for someone who spent 50 years doing it once a week versus somebody who's spent 50 years doing it every day of their life, there's a big, you can see a clear difference. And the only difference in that is time in at the anvil. So you want to go check in on that, Jess?
Sure.
While I rant for a little bit more?
Yes, I can do that.
I'll rant for a little while longer. So that is something to keep in mind. But that's how you can get better at forging. The next tip I will give to you, that you can practice. A lot of smiths struggle when you're first getting started at it, and even after you've been at it a little while, you struggle with hammer control, right? So you can struggle quite a bit with hammer control. And the way that you fix hammer control as an issue, or accuracy, or hammer accuracy as an issue, is take some chalk or some soapstone and draw you a big X on your anvil from corner to corner. Make you a big X, dead center of your anvil. And then practice, not hitting hard, but lightly. It could even be with a wood mallet. And just practice lightly hitting that X every time. And you're going to want to keep working that X until you make it disappear. All the chalk from the center where those lines overlap. Then draw your X on there again and lightly tap. And you can move that around your anvil if you're afraid that you're going to put a dent somewhere in it. And you just keep on lightly tapping and keep removing that center of that plus, or those crosshairs for you. And that will help you with your hammer accuracy when you replace steel where that X is at. So you draw that same X, bring out some hot material, place it where you want to hit it, and visualize that X beyond that piece and hammer on it, and you will increase tenfold with your hammer accuracy. You really will. And these are just simple drills that I believe every single beginner out there should be going. I harp down on the fundamentals because people bypass this to start making hammers. People bypass this to start making tongs. People bypass this to go start making brackets or flowers or frames or fire pokers or God knows what else, right? Anything you can imagine. You try to jump past these fundamentals and get really good at these to just make a project, and then you wonder why the project didn't come out good. It's because you never practice the individual components of that project enough. You added one ugly mistake, you added it to another ugly mistake that added to another ugly mistake, which came out to the whole project not living up to the expectation you had for it. Versus if you did the taper nice, right? Say on a fire poker, you made a nice taper. You made a nice forge weld. You made a nice twist, right? You drew out another nice taper. You made a nice bend for the loop. What do you come out with? A really nice fire poker, right? Same fire poker versus you struggled with the taper. You didn't get a good forge weld. Your twist is all crooked and discombobulated, and when you tried to bend an eye, you closed it up too tight and you just kind of went with it. Same amount of time you spent, but you didn't spend the time practicing each one of those fundamentals. So there's another rant. I should probably shut up and let it go. But that's the point. Those 7 fundamentals. It all comes down to those. Exactly 7. Mm-hmm. Just about everything. There are other techniques out there that could be considered fundamentals, sure, but literally everything you're doing, you're either drawing material out or you're upsetting material or you're welding material. It's doing one of those things in a whole host of different options. What's up, babe?
Oh, nothing, sugar. I was just standing to stretch. It was just your folks getting some water.
Oh, okay. So, good questions. Next question.
Yes. Let's see. Ken Foster says, for pendants, is there a finish suggested that you can use against the skin? A finish that lasts and doesn't come off clothes. I'm working with making some pendants for a cross-country team and wondering if it will come off as they sweat on it.
Pendants. So maybe you take that question, Jess.
Oh.
What do you normally do for your pendants?
I normally use just clear spray and a couple of coats, but somebody had mentioned also that they could be enameled, which, I mean, obviously they would, and that wouldn't wear off. Glass doesn't wear off of it as long as it's not dropped and it chips off. So enameling it could be an option too. Basically, you're heating the copper up to about a dull red, and then the enamel fuses onto the copper. So that is how that's done. I've got some videos on the channel if that's something you're interested in checking out.
Usually for any jewelry I've made in the past, I've either painted it if people didn't care or had any sort of, allergic reactions to that, or left it raw and unfinished and somebody else could oil it. So, yeah. So that's how I've done it in the past. So.
Jeff Killian said he did well. He did okay at his show, doing another one tomorrow, and expects to do well there.
Yeah. Cool.
And David Henderson says, I'm lucky that I have a regular full-time job. I just got engaged, so I'm trying to add a little more money to the wedding fund by making things.
Right on. Well, stick at it. I'm sure you'll do well.
Yep. So,
all right.
Yeah.
Is that it? Good?
Yep. Whizbang says, excellent advice. Speargrass says it's in the name. It's fundamental.
Yeah, fundamental.
Bill Will says, notice the first three letters of fundamental, F-U-N.
Yep, fun.
And Athel Ironworks says, I do something similar with folks. I draw a line across the apex of the horn and then a circle in the center. The tip of the steel goes on the line and you hammer in the circle.
Yep, that's another good way of triangulating on a fulcrum. So, yep, that's a nice way of doing it. Yeah. So, all right, well, I think we'll leave it there. So,
okay.
Apparently we have some visitors.
Yes.
And some guests there. So, yeah, people have been looking at your chin for the last 12
no, I
minutes.
turned it off
turn
for a bit.
Okay,
I was standing so I could stretch my leg.
Good.
Was going
I was
numb.
about to say, it was like just your bottom chin moving. It was kind of awkward.
Oh, no.
So I was like, okay, well,
better.
hey, if that's what she's into, well, we'll leave it. We'll leave it be at that. So
I know better.
But anyway, so okay, well, I think I've given enough advice for one evening, enough opinions of things as they were. So thank you all so much for being here. I hope you enjoyed it. We got a couple rants in there. Hopefully I inspired some people with the ironwork that you can produce with just some simple chisel lines and whatnots. Yep. And yeah, so Jessica, you're going to lead us out with a poem. Again, I will refresh everyone's memory. We will not be at Quad State this year. So we will not be at Quad this year. That will be, hopefully we can do next year. So we won't be there this year, but we do have a coupon code for free shipping. If people wanted to use that on the website, if you were hoping to buy something from us while we were there in person. I know it's not as good as being in person, but we appreciate you either way. But we can at least do that for you and help you out on the shipping. So you can load up your cart and don't have to worry about how much it'll cost to get to you. So hopefully that will be helpful nonetheless. Without further ado, God bless each and every last one of you. I hope you all have a great Quad State. For anybody who's going to Quad State this year, sorry we won't be in attendance, and we will miss you all greatly. But have extra fun for us and extra s'mores around a campfire. So, all right, everybody, take care, and we will talk to you in October. Bye now.
From Under the Chestnut Tree by our very own Speargrass Forge, I'm going to read from, let's see here, I had a little bookmark in here. We're going to read Never Give Up on page 24. Never give up. It is wiser and better always to hope than once to despair. Fling off the load of doubt's cankering fetter and break the dark spell of tyrannical care. Never give up, or the burdens may sink you. Providence kindly has mingled the cup. And in all trials or troubles bethink you, the watchword of life must be never give up. Never give up, there are chances and changes, helping the hopeful 100 to 1. And though through the chaos high wisdom arranges, ever success if you'll only hope on. Never give up, for the wisest is boldest, knowing that Providence mingles the cup, and of all maxims the best is the oldest, and the true watchword of never give up. Never give up, though the grape shot may rattle, or the full thundercloud over you burst. Stand like a rock in the storm and the battle. Little shall harm you, though doing the worst. Never give up if adversity presses. Providence wisely has mingled the cup, and the best counsel in all your distresses is the stout watchword of never give up. Thank you all. Have a wonderful weekend. Take care.